Hi everyone, Mature Simmer here. So welcome back to the VIP farm here in Riverview. So for those of you who actively follow the series, you'll have noticed that I did actually miss a weekend post. A big part of that was hoping that I would eventually get some feedback on the episode where I had asked for feedback for which of two directions should I go. Unfortunately, I have not, and I don't want to take the chance of letting things slip another week. So I am going to have to make the choice, unfortunately, because no viewers have jumped in and given me any feedback on what I should do. And so what I am going to do is I am going to proceed trying to stage things as much as I possibly can. Now that is the more complicated of the two choices, to keep kind of track of things and to keep making decisions on what to do, but I think it's just going to be the more effective, because otherwise I'm just kind of wasting days and letting things proceed forward. So with that in mind, those of you who maybe are new to this series or new to the channel, first of all, welcome, and glad to have you, and hope you become a regular viewer and hopefully comment contributor as well, because I'm definitely looking for an active community. So what this series is about is centered around this mod, which is the VIP Order Manager. And it creates this to-do list or quest list or whatever you want to refer to it as, that gives us specific orders from VIPs about what they'd like our farm to be producing for their businesses. So we're in level 12. The way I have this game set right now, I can see forward 3 levels. So I see the current level and the next 3, so that helps me plan ahead, which is what we're going to be doing here. I have to fill each level in its entirety, and if I do, I get this bonus payout. So in this case, sorry about that. Sometimes I deftly, or at least I think deftly, hide the fact that, oh shoot, I'm in dollars rather than pounds. This time I just am being transparent about it, because I frankly don't want to re-record what I had been saying about the board. But yes, we would get this payout of 213,200 pounds added into our coffers. And so you can see kind of how that's divided out, because you could abort a current VIP order. Now I have not tried that specifically to then verify, like, the things that I've completed, do I get that partial payout? I don't think I do, and part of the thing is I'm also not really looking to skip things. I'm looking to do the work. So the target I've set for myself in this series is to, at minimum, get myself to the point where I see the level 20 payout. But what I really would like to do is complete the level 20 payout. So we've still got quite a bit of work left on this series to fulfill that goal, and some levels take longer than others. And so the decision I've made is I'm going to keep working ahead. So like right now I've planted a lot of canola. I've got my largest field planted in canola in anticipation of these couple orders that are coming up, and then we'll save that. We also have sorghum planted, and we're currently waiting for tomatoes to produce, and so that's really kind of what's holding things up. So if I run over here to my canola field, and I'm running in a little bit further because sometimes I have to plant this field, or I inadvertently plant the field in stages, because I start the planting, and then by the time I get done, it's rolls over midnight and I have part of the field going. But in this case I don't, so I still have 4 months before I'm going to even be able to harvest this field. And at this point, we're just getting tomatoes to start to come out again. So those are 500 liters each. So we've just got 3,000 or so liters of tomatoes, and you can see we're going to need another 27,000 on top of that, or so 26,000, because it's really 18,000 there. So with that in mind, in the direction that I'm going to go ahead, let's figure out what we're going to do today. So as I said, where this gets a little complicated, I know I'm producing canola. I know I need to pick grapes off the vine to go ahead and start producing grape juice. Let's check out where we're at with soybeans. So we have enough soybeans right now to make that delivery. Now let's take a look. We don't have right now any future visibility into any soybeans. So right now I have this taken care of, and hopefully this in the process of being taken care of. My goal is off of field 42 there, that hopefully I do get 280,000 plus liters of canola. So then we move into the fact we need furniture. So over here we can see we have wood. We are actively producing furniture. Not sure if I have enough, but I should, because I only need 7,000 liters of furniture. So more than likely we're in a good spot for this particular order. I know I need to start feeding the chickens for eggs, so I will do that if I have enough. So chickens will eat wheat, barley, and sorghum. So I'm a little low on all of those. I have a lot of wheat, or I'm sorry, I have a lot of barley, but part of that is for here. So I really don't have a lot of barley, because if you look at it, I have a 150,000 liter order, and I don't actually have enough. So digging into that to feed the chickens doesn't make a lot of sense. So what I had been thinking of was, once the sorghum gets harvested, so let's jump over here, take a look at our sorghum, and there we go. Sorghum is in fact ready to harvest right now. So I think we've stumbled upon very clearly what we're going to do today. So as I've been doing a lot of talking at this point, I think I'm going to go ahead and stop, because now we're kind of out into things that we can't control. But you know, again, I guess we'll finish a little bit of the conversation. We've got hopefully canola coming off the field that will handle both of these. I can't do lettuce until the tomatoes are done, so I've got a gating factor of this being done before I turn the warehouse over, and then the hope is we get 28,000 liters before we work through everything else. But if we stage everything and are just able to, as soon as we finish level 12, just go deliver 13 and 14, we may just suddenly find ourselves at level 15 instantly, in a manner of speaking, and suddenly be waiting for lettuce again. We've got bees, honey's producing, raisins come off that field as well. I think in the past I've done somewhat of a mix like this, so I may be able to fulfill all of both of these once again by careful management of my grape production unit. And then I just need to get milk into the dairy for cheese. So I'm in a really good spot to just keep plowing ahead. Hence the reason I've made that decision. So I had kind of placed this over here last time because I knew sorghum was going to be my next focus. So I am going to go ahead, and I think I just need to disconnect here. Oh, that's right, I'm not on manual attach. So we'll disconnect here, and then we will go ahead. It's been a while since I've been on the farm. As I said, obviously we've missed a week, and a lot of the content I had provided was put together earlier before I headed out on vacation, so it's been probably a month since I've been on this farm. So I do apologize if there's a little bit of fumbling around and trying to get myself back in the mindset of where exactly things are here. I think I can fit between these trees. I don't know that I've tried this before, but it doesn't make sense to pull this down. So as you can see, we've got sorghum everywhere. So I can go ahead, just as a verification on the map here, you know, we're in a ready to harvest state. You know, we also are on grapes. We've been that way for a while, however. I'm not sure that I've actually done what I needed to do with the grapes, so as far as fertilizing and so forth and mulching, so I may have a lot less productivity than I think there. And then obviously this is in the early, kind of the mid-growth stages, I guess. I was going to say the early growth stages, but that's not entirely true. So let's finally jump into the work here. and that work is going to be getting this sorghum done. So I'm going to cut across both of these fields, do the top and the bottom headlands, I think. Obviously set my GPS line in the process. I don't need any straw, so I'm not going to create any kind of a situation where I'm dealing with that. Again, we'll snap the GPS so that we've got that good to go. Looks like I've got a little bit, oh, okay, didn't get far enough, a little bit of lime or something there that we didn't have. And so again, I'll just kind of cut over here as well. So sorghum's one of those crops, if you've not worked it before, it's one of my least favorite from the standpoint of, you know, if we come in here and take a peek at things, like it is hard to tell sometimes that it's harvested unless you're down here at this level. So it's one of those challenging positions to be in. I'll zoom back out because that harvester's pretty loud. So pick up our header just so we don't inadvertently do something. I don't know what we would do. There's no fields over here that I could mistakenly bump into, and even when I go down the other way, I'll be, you know, basically wanting to harvest all these fields together anyway. So that was part of what I was doing, was just really to jam forward with the sorghum to both fill the need, because 79,000 liters off these small fields isn't a guarantee that I'm going to get. I mean, you can see I've already gone across one, you know, and a half here, passes on the bottom cut, and yeah, these aren't the long lengthwise passes, but you know, they're there and they're up there. And I barely have 2,500 liters. So, you know, to get to even, say, 8,000, which is going to be about 10% of what I need, I've still got a ways to go. So the hope is that I can do that, because typically I get 25 to 30,000 liters off the big field at the bottom, number 7. And then each of these are about 10,000 normally. So that's a bit of my concern, frankly, is that I've only got like 55,000 liters here. So I may have to replant sorghum, which became another reason to make the decision I did. So I'm trying to snap to my line, but more importantly, one of the big challenges I've had is the automatic width setting on the GPS system is larger on this header for some reason. It keeps setting itself as 8.2 meters, but it's a 7.5 meter header. Obviously then that means I have things left which don't get dealt with, and then it creates harvest problems, so I'd prefer not to do that. So, you know, that's what I've got ahead of me for today. So I've got a little bit of material, a couple pallets of stuff sitting out in the grass field. So that grass is typically just, you know, I use that for my cow barn, my dairy, as I need to. Typically don't need a lot there. I do have also kind of another thing about the straw. I have a lot of bales of straw that I picked off because I did straw, if I recall, because that's been long ago. I think I did it off of field 42 once and collected many bales of straw. So I'm going to need that for the TMR mixer as well. But right now I think I'm quite set for a while. So I'm going to go ahead just to avoid any issues with turning around. And because the goal of the series is VIP and not realism and so forth, I do have some things turned off, including crop destruction, so I could just go turn around in the field down below and not create a problem. But I still like to be realistic as possible, where it just doesn't turn into tedium. Because, I do have the other main series I do on the farm, Misty Hills, or on the channel, Misty Hills, that is really kind of where I have to do things much more realistically because of the rules of FSN, the multiplayer community that takes place in. So I would encourage you, if you haven't seen that series and you love Farming Simulator, there's tons and tons of content there going over decades of work on farms, including moving from one location to another, actually moving twice at this point, because we're kind of just in earnest starting up on our third map, Hobo's Hollow, that farm has been taking place on, but I wasn't covering right from the beginning, but I did start the series on the first map. I was on Seneca, which is based in Ohio in the US, so I do have that. Alright, so we're finally over 8,000, plus we're also getting close to filling this harvester. So we're going to have to be careful with that. But at this point, cutting these two swaths is going to give me a pretty good position. Alright, I love how the harvesters, even though we've got steering in the back, it just does a terrible job of really setting up before it hits the harvestable crop. So sometimes you got to go back and forth. So I just need to be careful here because I think it's like 9,300. So we're going to stop so that we don't, again, go too far. For now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use this tractor to go ahead and get the crop. So the trailer's down here. Again, this is kind of what I expected a little bit, is being gone for a month. I don't even recall where I have equipment laying around. I luckily still recall pretty much what equipment I have, so I shouldn't have any issues there, other than perhaps senior moments where I truly do not remember. Oh, I keep getting out and doing manual attach because I've been doing the Misty Hills or the FSN stuff so long, and everything's manual there, so I'm just so used to all my farming being that right now, between generational farming, which is something that takes place on FSN as well, and the main farm. So I have not automatically attached anything in Farming Simulator in a month or more, so that's why I keep getting out. But at this point, I'll use this medium tractor that I have simply because it'll help me see, what can I do and can I haul this? Because I could just go and put things into the silo, which I probably will do. Although, it might make sense to go ahead and deliver and just kind of get the order fulfilled and then start putting things in the silo. Otherwise, it's kind of double work. I go move everything to the silo and then have to go grab whatever it is, 79,000 liters out of the silo and go deliver it. Okay, I'm going to put my pipe back in because we do still have some trees around here. So the other thing that I have done, I did have kind of a cross, as you can see, that what we're heading toward, that row of trees between the fields. We did have the same thing down below between field 7 and field 8, but I took those out at one point to generate that wood that we now have in the carpentry location that we're making furniture out of. And if I need wood in the future, those would be my first targets, is to go ahead and just clean that out and really open up the space between these fields. Because even though I have crop destruction off, there's nothing that you can set that makes trees something you can drive through. So, nor do I necessarily want to kill realism that far. It's one thing, obviously I just pulled through the hedges with the tractor and so forth. And on a map like this, that kind of makes it more playable, at least for me. I don't terribly enjoy the confines of some of that, and again, I try to honor that as much as possible, but there are times where it would be like, all right, this is just too much. Now, a lot of times the posts within the hedges do have collisions set up, and those aren't modified in any way, so I do want to be clear. It's not as if the hedges didn't allow me through and I have some sort of mod running that allows me to drive through them. That's part of the map design. So the log posts do hold up some things, usually like the trailer that I've got the sorghum in is one of those, so those can't go through it, but sometimes the tractor seems to be able to, but then as soon as the trailer connects with it, we're in trouble. So I'm going to go ahead at this point. I'm going to continue the harvest. Once I have a full trailer that I'm ready to deliver, I will pop back in and we'll take that journey together. So I'll see you in a bit. Alright, so here we are. Finished the 2 fields there. And we're literally about halfway done with this field here. Now I'm going to have more in the harvester than I'm going to be able to fully empty here, because this has a 40,000 liter capacity. So I'm going to switch to the harvester. So we've got a little more than half left here. So I do think that bodes well. But what I want to do is turn this off so that I'm not burning fuel while I'm transporting this material over. So hopefully we'll clear this without hitting anything. Alright, so our favorite place, Stu's Farm Shop, is where the VIP wants this sorghum delivered. So we're going to go ahead and do that. That's over in town, so it's not very far. It's kind of the early part of fall here, so, you know, it's one of the things definitely I get to look at and enjoy is just the beauty of nature around as we farm. And so trees just starting to turn, a few early on, but kind of the crispness in the air as we start heading toward the winter time. But I really do think we're going to have at least a year to go before the tomatoes are going to be ready. So we're going to get this sorghum done, and then there's just going to be a lot of other things going on that might have nothing to do with making some, progress on the tomatoes. We'll just be waiting, because I've really got to take another, it's going to be 2 more deliveries, because I typically do about 18,000 per load. So I kind of wait until I have that, and then go ahead and load up the trailer and then head out. So Stu's is up this road here. So always a bit of tight positioning. Now there's no fields on this island, but it just gives you a good sense of kind of the sizing of everything, like why you can't use big equipment on a map like this. Just you could not, it would be impossible to get it around. I mean, I don't even know that it would be challenging. I think in some cases it would be impossible. I don't know why I went around this way, because I need to dump into the pit. I'm just so used to delivering pallets here to the back. But either way, I'd be pulling through and then just turning around, so I suppose it works. Makes it a little cleaner. So we'll get this dumped. We should see the VIP order pop up as we do this and start decreasing. So there we go. So you can see how the mod works. It's really something I really have come to enjoy, hence why I've been keeping this series going for so long. I just really enjoy playing this manner. It kind of gives me a purpose for the farm rather than just randomly picking things. So we have 39,000 liters of sorghum. So while I'm thinking of that, I'm going to go ahead and set my fill limiter now, because that way I'll just have exactly what I need. And we then can just bring it over and check that one off from the VIPs as well. And the nice thing is, obviously, we got the sale from the sorghum. That doesn't always happen. So, for example, when we deliver the milk to the dairy, normally, if we didn't own the dairy, we'd be getting that milk sale as well. But because we own the dairy to create the cheese, then we don't really get any payout until we sell the cheese. But those are the deals. So yeah, what I'll be doing then is we'll harvest the 39,000 off of the field to fulfill the order, and then the remainder will immediately start going to the chickens. And so I'm going to then feed the chickens, and if somehow I fill up the chickens, so be it. But 22,000 liters of eggs, I think, is also going to take a little bit of time, even with a full contingent of chickens in the coop over there. So the hope is that we have 39,000. I'm feeling pretty good about it, because like I said, I should get 25 to 30,000 liters of sorghum off this field here, off field 7, that we're passing. And then, the remainder, that means probably if I can get 15,000 off this field still, I think I'm golden for sure, because then it's basically 25 off the other, and I'd be very surprised if I don't end up with that much. Because right now, we'll see, we're going to have 3,000 plus here that we've dumped in, which means I'm going to need basically 12,000 more off the field. It could happen. If I look at what I've got here, I've already pulled 7,600, and I'm not halfway. So that means I should get another 8,000. I've already got 3 in there. So to get 15, I need 4,000 more. It's going to be close. But I'm also thinking 25,000 is pretty conservative off field 7. So, you've kind of gotten to see us start to fulfill the order. You'll obviously get to see me finish the order, unless somehow we end up short. Now, the other thing that, could kind of derail things, like we may just barely get enough sorghum to fulfill the order, and then I'm kind of in the position that I still can't really effectively start the chickens in production. But I'm hoping I can get 4,000 or 5,000 liters additional, and that should be enough to have the chickens move along. Because, I'll have to, I think, I'll have to put barley in or something, and as long as I can get the chickens producing for a few months, I might be able to keep things going. But we'll do the best we can. Obviously, this is my worst producing field. It's got really low yield. It's always like 70 or 80%, because the soil is terrible. But I cannot tell you how much I enjoyed the fact that I'm not cutting sugarcane off this field anymore. While it was, hitting too many buttons, while it's interesting to try other crops and do other things, you also start to learn the jobs that are really tedious and you don't like. And root crops are pretty good. Again, I think sugarcane would be okay in the right circumstances. Like if I'm really in a area that I should be growing it. Again, we're here in England. I don't think there's a lot of sugarcane production happening in England, which is partially then why I made the decision at one point to modify the script of the VIP order manager. I knew enough about getting in there per the changes I did for the VIP, the Mega VIP series, and that is one that hasn't officially died. It's just one of those that has always been, if I have time, this is an experiment, and that one I know has been off the air for a long, long time. But, I've got the save game. It's still sitting in my system. When I came in to load this one up, because it's right next to this one, it certainly reminded me, wow, I haven't done that in a while. Maybe I should revisit that at some point, and I will probably, but it may still be a very, very long time. So I'm going to be upfront with that. But the point being, the learning I did on that to be able to adjust the VIP order manager to function hopefully effectively on a large map, so that requires significant tweaking of things. I've got a whole video on what I did there. If I remember, I'll go ahead and link it up here for those farming nerds or farming simulator nerds who want to understand how you might look at a mod, how you might modify it for your purposes. What I learned and what I did. I had never developed a mod. I had never worked on a mod before. That was my first foray into it. Now I will say I do have some technical background, which I'm sure gave me a leg up in comfort and understanding what I was really looking at, and being able to probably be more effective than someone who isn't comfortable with programming and things like that, and has no frame of reference. But it's certainly something that if you wanted to apply yourself, I think you could do what you needed to do with certain things. I mean, what I haven't tried, what I haven't been able to do is anything graphically, like designing a new harvester, for example. Like, I might be able to tweak how that harvester works in the mod code, what capacity it has, what price it sells for, like those type of things I'm comfortable I could do. But as far as graphically designing the harvester, putting it all together, figuring out how to make all the parts work, hats off to the people who do that work, because that is something that I have not ever attempted to tackle, nor do I think I'd be terribly good at. I can't draw for the life of me, and being on a computer isn't going to help me much anyway. I just don't have that creative capability. I'm not an artist. So for those people that can do it, so I will say there is saving grace in the map designer, like not making everything with collisions. It would just be really hard if, like, these street lamps and everything were collision focused. And so, as I said, you can certainly, play as if they are and try to avoid them and so forth, and sometimes I do. But at this point, because I'm frankly running against the deadline of getting this thing out for this weekend, which is in a day or two, that I've got to have this posted so that it shows up when it's supposed to. I'm just trying to get this done so that I can get the content I need for the episode, which is, at this point, the sorghum harvest and, hopefully, fingers crossed, chicken feeding. So it's going to be close. You can see here we're 8,200. We're probably going to be at 8,500 or so before we hit the end of the row, but I don't have much left, and I don't know that I have, say, 3,000 liters, which is what I would need to get to the 15,000 in what I don't think is even 2 full rows. So I'm going to keep plowing along, and we'll be back as we're getting ready to make that final delivery, and then I'll explain where I'm at. And, we'll see what the mood's like at that point, if I'm just going to tidy things up or not. So I'll see you in a bit. I'm back here. I think I should have just enough to hit the 39,000. So I've got this little bit left as extra chicken feed. So I'm thinking it's only going to be like 2,000 or 3,000 liters at most. Hoping I'm not short. I might be a tiny bit short, but I don't think so. There we go. All right. So again, turn this off, because otherwise it'll burn a liter or two of fuel, which is not a huge amount in the grand scheme of things, but it's unnecessary. But, getting late in the day. At this point, it's coming up on 6 p.m., so definitely a full day of work here to get this sorghum done. I thought I was cutting it a little too close, and I was. But any bit, I guess, we can get going. We just need to be thankful for the fact that we can have the chickens do something. Because the challenge, unfortunately, I think is going to be, I don't think they start producing eggs immediately until they're kind of up to full health and so forth, and that takes a few hours of them eating food. And then, obviously if they fall off again, if I'm not able to keep them going until I get more food for them, it just gets a little more challenging. So the thing I can look at, although I don't remember that I had that much, because I don't think I have any need right now for any wheat that I have. So I could feed them wheat as well. That might be what it's going to take to nurse them through until I have, say, additional barley done. Because what I've got to figure out is I need I don't need any soybeans, so I can plant barley on the small fields, for example, because I only need 20 or 30,000 liters of barley. So if I get the same kind of output, I'll have 40, 50,000 liters of barley that I'm going to be able to use for chicken feed. Because planting the large field in barley just may be too much for what I need. But this should get this order done here. Unless sometimes we're off by a tiny bit, so we may have 1 liter left or 2 liters left. I would hope not. I would hope it's going to fully complete it and we'll go green. There we go. All right, excellent. So again, 46,000. We've got 7 or 8% as our environmental bonus, but that's all just, bonus anyway. I'm not really pushing for some sort of maximum profitability in this series. It's more about have enough money to do what we need to do, and I would hope that with nearly 2 million pounds, we're pretty much set to be able to do things. Because even if I've got to buy productions, at this point I own a lot of productions, so there's not much left to buy on the map, frankly. I think I've still maybe got the grain mill and stuff, although no, now that I think about it, I think I had to do some kind of flour or something at one point in the early levels. I know the oil mill I own, which is another pricey production, but yeah, I think I'm kind of running out of productions I need to build or buy. I'm not building any. Well, I suppose I could be required to build something if the VIPs ask for something that production isn't on the map, but I think this one had a pretty thorough coverage of those. So I'm going to go ahead at this point and I will finish harvesting that field, and then I'll come back, and the wrap up here will be just kind of seeing where we stand with what we can get to the chickens, and at least give you the information. So I'll do the research on the wheat and whatever else it is, because I know I've got a little bit of sorghum I can go get out. I think I have like 500 liters, but it's nothing incredible. So I'll see you in a bit. Up here at my silo, gonna go ahead and get the sorghum. You can see we got 33.53, and we end up with 38.91 as what we can start with. So there's our pile of straw that I had talked about early in this episode. So many, many bales. I think each of those are 11,000 liters or some crazy thing. If not, they're 9,000. There's a lot there. Kind of enough, I think, to fill the TMR mixer, because straw gets used a little less than everything else. So yeah, the biggest challenge here is just backing in, although I think it was worse when I had a cow barn here, but when I got rid of that to get the sheep in, and we just got the bees added in and so forth, this actually gives us quite a bit of space if we need to expand. So a couple 1,000 liters of tomatoes extra throughout the day, so you can see the slowness of how that all goes. So let's take a peek. So the capacity of the grain, very, very low. But again, we've got so many chickens in this coop that I think it'll work. So this was not one I put in. This was one that was provided with the map. So they definitely give us plenty of chickens, so we can do some significant egg production if we need to. So it may not take that terribly long to get 22,000 liters, but we'll see. But at this point, I do have over 8,000 liters of wheat, so I'm going to go ahead and get that, because obviously the 4,000 liters there don't do much, and that would kind of make sense for 900 chickens. So as you can see, 8,091 liters of wheat. But we'll get that over to the chickens, and that should put us in a good spot, because I don't know that I'm going to immediately turn around and do the barley. I've half a mind that my next task will be the grapes, because that's kind of, I'm always looking at what's the long pole in the tent as far as time management on the farm and just keeping things as effective as possible. And so if I can get an extra day or two of production out of the GPU, the grape production unit, making raisins and wine, grape juice. But, I'm sure it normally kind of would be wine, although I guess they sell grape juice too in life, so I don't know. I'm not worried about it. I'm overthinking it. It's been a long time getting this done. Definitely different areas of the farm operating again. I really haven't had to do anything with eggs since the beginning. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn this off. It's what, 7 p.m., but it's fall, so it's getting a little dark. So yeah, you can see even with almost 12,000 liters of food, but they're already up to 10%, because I think we had food in there before it rolled over to 1,900 hours. So 9 more hours, they'll be at full productivity. What I don't know is, did they produce some more eggs? It doesn't look like it. Let me turn on the flashlight so we can see, so we've got a little bit here that's, let's see, what do we got? 26 pieces. I don't remember if the pieces are the liters. That's always the challenge. No, they're not, because it's not 1,400 liters, so that's a bit of the difficulty. I think, if I remember, basically those pallets are the same as all the other pallets. They're 500 liters of eggs a piece, so I'm going to need a trailer and a little bit more to fulfill the need. But we've now got 5 of our 6 level 12 orders done. At this point, we're just waiting for tomatoes. So, again, we have enough soybeans, so we'll be able to fill that right away. And after we harvest the grapes and then plant some barley, that's kind of what we've got ahead of us as the next 2 jobs. We will then likely be getting to the canola. I think I can get both of those things done ahead of time, and then the barley will be the leftover barley off these fields, because I'll probably just plant the small 4 fields again and just do it all in barley, just like I did this all in sorghum, and that should give us a similar yield. And if I can get, say 85,000 liters of barley off, again, that'll give me 40 or 50,000 liters, which should be more than enough feed. Because at this point, I'll be able to kind of take a look and see 12,000 liters of feed. What did that turn into with regard to egg production? So that's where I'm at. I'm going to go get myself some dinner. I'm going to turn in for the night, and we'll be back at it tomorrow with something else. So, once again, if you've liked the episode, if you enjoy the series, get any fun out of it at all, appreciate it if you would like the episodes. They help spread through the YouTube algorithm, get it out to the channel. Certainly this VIP Order Manager, I have yet to really see someone who's incorporated it into a series like I did. I think it's a game changer in gameplay, and I would hope that therefore it improves the quality of content over just what a lot of the other Let's Plays will be, is just, hey, I'm running my farm, and you kind of set your own goals and whatever, but this gives us a different kind of focus. So if you can do the like, that would be great. And if you have not subscribed yet, I encourage you to do so. It doesn't have any downside to you. You'll just get notified about when new content is posted here if you check the notification along with that. But it just makes it easier to find the channel for you in the future, and just, maybe check back. Even if you only look at me every few weeks or so forth, you can see what happened on the channel and catch up with what you want to catch up with all the activity that's going on. So I would really, really thank you if you would do that, because I'm really trying hard. I can feel the closeness of 1,000 subscribers. It's been a long time coming, heading into 2 years of this channel operating, and it would be wonderful to cross that threshold. So with that, done with the plugging of the channel, and I will see you next time.